All right, so what's funny here is that a lot of people say, oh, my mind is so strong and, these frequencies, they can't kill me or whatnot. But you know what's funny is that they say that they're use binaural beats because they believe it can heal them. And listen, belief is powerful, man. Belief is powerful. But, man, let me tell you something. If you do enough of that root shadow work, man, you believe, let me tell you something. If you don't know, see, the same way that you don't know you're addicted to fear, you don't know that you're addicted to certain things, which is why you keep repeating certain patterns and you live a certain way, but you can't detect those patterns, which is why you keep repeating those certain things. It's the same thing, man. You think that these things can't affect you, but there's a deep-rooted belief that you do and you don't know you do. And this is why it's important to really keep the ego aside and accept that you do believe certain things. See, if you grew up in a religious household, there's a deep-rooted belief in religion. See, I grew up in a religious household. And I'm trying not to make this whole shit a fucking religion. And when I talk, this is why people may say I zigzag to so many different things. But you know what? Because I'm not polarized to one thing. You get what I'm saying? And I don't see anything wrong with anybody doing that. See, like I said, when you think one-dimensionally, you're multi-dimensional. You're a multi-dimensional being. So you're supposed to see things from multi-dimensions. Because if you don't, then you're just a one-dimensional being. And what dimension are you in? Because a lot of the times you only see things in this physical world. You depend on the information you get from this physical world. And you think that that's what you can share. And then when it doesn't make sense, and then let's say if you do go beyond this physical realm, and somebody else is one-dimensional, they won't understand what the fuck you're saying, man. They want to find reason and logic behind what you're saying. And like I said, it doesn't take only logic and reason. A lot of the times it has a lot to do with a resonating. It's a resonance. And it's a wisdom because you base it on experience that you have gone through to know what the fuck the person is saying or what you're talking about. See, the whole thing is that you even have to accept the limitations that you're in right now. You're a human being. You're being a human right now. You know what I'm saying? But through being human, you do the work to come to a realization. But it's not to say I am God because you learned from somebody that you're God. You know what I'm saying? And it sounded good. So did it feed your spirit or did it feed your ego? That's the shit. That's the little trick. Because it happens to me, man. And it happens to a lot of melanated people, white people, Chinese people, fucking red people, orange people, whatever the fuck you want to call them, man. They become real patriotic. You know what I'm saying? Ah, man, I do things that feel good. You get what I'm saying? They feel good, but the body will let you know what it is that it needs. When you're attuned with your body, it'll tell you what it needs. But you got to know if it's an addiction or if it's something it needs as real nourishment. You get what I'm saying? Now, just observing, people in my life, let's say, for example, that I speak to on certain topics and it doesn't click. You get what I'm saying? You can't force that on them. You get what I mean? They're not ready. Just like certain parts of you aren't ready to get to the next level. It takes a work in progress. It's a work. See, I had a lot of fear, and I still do have some fears, man. And I'm working through them, but I had a lot of fears that I fucking overcame. I overcame a lot of fears. But there's a lot of obstacles, man. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I started to face these things. even though they've been challenging, some have actually beaten me. And I've said to myself, you know what? This is what the real video game is about. It's not about you dying here physically. It's about something defeating you. Let's say you're doing something and you decided to, let's say you decided to dedicate yourself to something and you failed at it. Let's use an example, like people with NoFap. It's just an example. Let's say you decided to dedicate yourself to NoFap. You say, I'm not going to fap for like 90 days, right? But then you fapped 40 days in, right? You failed. You lost. And people will say, but damn, I went 40 days. Don't matter. You dedicated yourself to 90 days. You get what I'm saying? But it's not like that's anything bad. You just start all over. Reset. New game. You know? Do it again. Like a video game. If you die, you try again. But I'm not into the NoFap category. I'm just using that as an example. But, you know, we're going into different topics here as far as whatever it is that you're partaking or whatever it is that you're doing. You get what I'm saying? But we always feel, the thing is, we always feel like we have to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like even the same, you see how this turns into another religion? Because the same way you feel like you have to make it in life, make a certain amount of money, get your dream career, get your dream job, get your dream girl. Now in spirituality, it feels like you have to get somewhere too. You know what I'm saying? It feels like, man, I gotta upgrade. I gotta do the work. And then you stress yourself now in a different way. When in actuality, you just have to be. Accept what you are, who you are. And when you do that, it's easier to realize and come to realizations on where you're at, and you could actually do leaps forward a lot faster. Okay? But the ego will always say, no, I don't accept myself being in that position, but it's okay. Because what is bad, what is good, you know what I mean? And you know what? I'll use an example, man. It's an illusion where you think you're at. You think you're behind somebody. You got YouTubers who have like 1 million followers, right? And some people will look at that YouTuber and say that YouTuber is more important than a YouTuber such as myself, let's say, because I only have like 200 and change followers. You know what I'm saying? So they'll look at that YouTuber and be like, nah, that guy's got 1 million followers. This guy only got 240 followers. But you know what? That's the illusion. See, me, I don't feel any different than the guy who has 1 million followers. But some people will actually get all excited or get all, you know, happy. Let's say, for example, there was one time where a guy with 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers, I forgot how many followers he had, he responded to me. And I'm like, wow, I felt so special. But why? Because he has 20,000 followers? It's an illusion. What happens if YouTube, because I'll tell you right now, I've seen YouTubers with like 100 followers or 200 followers, and they give you a fucking upgrade, man. And then you hear these guys with 1 million followers, and they say a whole lot of nothing, man. A whole lot of shit. You get what I'm saying? Or they'll do videos just to cater to making sure that they're keeping their crowd happy. See, the thing is, my energy changes. Sometimes I talk a certain way, and I've talked to certain people, and they let me know, yeah, sometimes you sound calm, sometimes you sound excited, sometimes you sound focused, sometimes you don't sound focused, sometimes you sound like you're talking to somebody, and sometimes you sound like you're just not talking to anybody, you're just making a video for yourself. See, I like that. But you got to understand, I'm using energies to make videos, and it's different tools. And for certain videos, you're going to need certain tools, certain different energies. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes they may be a little bit more aggressive, sometimes not. If you're building a house, sometimes you need simple tools, sometimes you need power tools. I'm building my house. So I'm using different energies. I'm not going to always sound the same. You get what I'm saying? So that's the problem. And you know what? I learned, and I'm grateful for what I'm doing. Because every time I watch a video, I can go back and watch it. And as I go back and watch it, I can actually build on what I'm listening to by listening to what I said. And I said, God damn, you know what? It's like somebody else talking to me when I watch my own videos, because I forget what the fuck I said while I make the video, and I have to go back and watch it and realize, oh shit, I said that, but you know what? I could build on that, because I just realized as I'm watching it what I can build on, but I didn't realize at the moment I was doing it because I was in a flow. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like if I feel like making a video, I'm going to make it, but I have to make it on the spot, because if I wait till later, I'm not going to want to make it. You get what I'm saying? You do think you got, see, like look, when I garden, I have to get into an energy of gardening, because there's times where people will say, hey, let's go do something. And then you're like, I don't feel like it. That means that you're not into the energy of what it is that you're trying to do. The other person's into the energy, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they tell you at certain seasons, hey, get into the energy of Christmas, get into the energy of Thanksgiving, get into Valentine's Day, the love and blah. And meanwhile, all these things are bullshit. All right? But you have to get into an energy. But people are afraid because they think they're getting inhabited, and it's not like that, man. I mean, you're channeling all the time. I made videos on this before. You know? But based on your frequency and vibration is what it is that you're going to be attracting to channel through your fucking pie hole. All right? And you know what's funny? If you look at the movie American Pie, he was fucking the pie hole, right? And it's funny because I mentioned the video before where I said your mouth is like a vagina. See, the little punching ball in the back is like the clitoris, and then when you go to the back top part of the behind the punching ball, it feels like the skin of like the vagina when you're fingering a girl, right? And then your mouth salivates the same way that a vagina gets wet when it gets turned on. You know what I'm saying? And then you got pussy lips, and then you got lips also. You get? You got your eyes, your nose. You know what I'm saying? But you know what's funny is that when you look at the lower part, the diagram part of the lower half of your body, it looks like a face too. If you look at the diagram part, the eyes, the ovaries look like eyes, then the pelvic bone, you know what I mean? It looks like a face, and the vagina looks like a mouth down there. And if it's a penis, now you got the balls, and then you got the elephant trunk that hangs down. You know what I'm saying? But then if you look at the middle part of your torso, right, you also have, you know, the nipples look like eyes, and then, you know, you got your umbilical, your belly button that looks like a mouth, you know? Bodybuilders, you seen them flex, you know what I mean? Their back, when they're all muscular, the back looks like another face. You get what I'm saying? But you got faces all over you. I mean, you know what's funny? The other day I was just looking at my skin, just looking at the scales of my skin, and I'm starting to see faces there, because when I was in the airplane, I started to see faces on the clouds. You get what I'm saying? There was clouds, and it was like a blanket of clouds. It looked like we were going over a sheet of snow, but it's like I was seeing faces everywhere. I took pictures of this shit, and everybody's sleeping on the plane. And you know, you can go into nature, you see the tree branches, they look like faces, everything starts to form faces around you. And when you get high or you're on a DMT trip or something, now you got eyeballs everywhere and you start to see faces everywhere, right? But you don't have to get high or anything. You just look at yourself, you start to see faces. And as I'm looking at my skin, it brought me back in time when I was a little kid. I remember I used to look at birthmarks on people, and they used to make certain patterns. They look like triangles, squares, and they look like faces, you know what I'm saying? Or some even had moles that popped up, and they look like hairs that stuck out, and they look like a mountain with trees on it, or fucking grass growing out of it, whatever you want to look at it as. But I remember that shit. You get what I'm saying? And you got faces all over your shit. But people's consciousness is all here. You get what I'm saying? Because they're thinking all the time. They're thinking. But if you disconnect and put your consciousness, let's say, through your heart space, now you're not thinking as much. Now you're in your heart space. But people who have their heart space too open, they're still imbalanced, because now they're just too giving and not enough for the receiving part. You get what I'm saying? Or they're too compassionate, too, you know what I mean? Like they just never know how to say no. And then there's the ones that are all the way at the bottom face, and then that's the lustful part. And all they want to do is fucking receive and get and fucking give away their energy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? In a lustful space. But the funny thing is that all these places are actually needed. Because as I mentioned in my previous video, it's not about thinking. It's about gaining information from all these places that you have in your body, because everything is there for a reason. The bad bacteria is in your body for a reason, and the good bacteria is there for a reason. It's not to get rid of everything bad. People want to be too clean. You can't be too clean. You're going to get sick if you're too clean. The bacteria, you see people wash their hands all the time, you get sick faster. What's funny is that this face right here, So you got your eyes, which you tear from your eyes. That's your essence. Tears, you know, you got blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I mean? Because that's your essence. And then you got your pineal gland, which secretes a hormone as well and secretes the elixirs. And then you got your nipples, which secrete milk if you're a woman. On a man, they're not functioning, right? But then here's the funny part. Look at the Baphomet. The Baphomet, right, is a man, but he's got woman boobs, right? And he's got the phallus. So it's androgyny, the completion, right? But the funny thing is, you got the ovaries, which secrete a fluid as well. The balls of a man, you know, they secrete sperm, and you know what I mean. That's where you come. You come, you come when you ejaculate, right? And everything that looks like eyes, secretes something, except for a man, right? So man, technically, a woman, everything is functioning, but a man has nipples that don't function. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of looks like it's like an incompletion there. You get what I'm saying? And that's going into real deep thinking. You know what I'm saying? But then again, those are things you meditate on. So you can let go of that deep thinking and just kind of give yourself space for a download from a higher perspective. You know what I'm saying? But there's faces everywhere. You know what I'm saying? There's a face on this camera looking right at me. The computers. There's a little camera. That's the little camera, right? Isn't your pineal gland project? Matter of fact, let me read something to you real quick. Where's my phone? I'm gonna read something to you real quick, which is pretty interesting. I hate to have you guys waiting, you know what I'm saying? But then again, I don't. Check this out. The pineal gland is the movie projector. The eyes are the movie screens. Life is the reflection of the inner reality. It is the reaction to creation. Life is animated death. Doth is returning to reality. Now, I happen to catch this on one of Tao Lore's posts. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't really follow him too much, but you know what I'm saying? It is something significant that sticks out. You know what I'm saying? I don't follow him, but I kind of got it. See, this is the thing. Like I said, these things get attracted to you at a perfect point in time. And this happened to just pop up for me at a perfect point in time when exactly I needed it. And I don't even follow him. You get what I'm saying? Now check this out, because I spoke about dreams and, you know what I mean, what needs explanations and what doesn't. Just, you know what I mean, believing is seen sometimes. But check this out. Tired equals a blockage in the bowels. Dreams, when your consciousness shifts focus to a self. Now, self is not S-E-L-F. He put it C-E-L-L-F. And I spoke about that just recently about Nature Boy, who mentioned that. And then this popped up. You get what I'm saying? Everything happens perfectly. So let me read that again. Dreams equals when your consciousness shifts focus to a self. In the bowels, a parallel life that is created, of course. It's not what you're doing here, okay? Sleep is unconscious breath work. Because do you notice how when people sleep, their breathing changes to when they're actually awake? They're more shallow breathers when they're awake, but when they're sleeping, they're breathing a lot heavier. You know what I'm saying? But some people have, and this is gonna go into another topic. I'm not gonna talk about it here, but depending on how you're eating and the toxins and accumulation in your sinus cavity and all that is what makes you snore, and you actually have sleep apnea like that. But I'll talk about that in another video. And then blockages block the flow of air. Okay? Toxins in your body, okay, block the flow of energy. So that's important to know. So I thought these were interesting. Now check this out. The fact that your lungs push out to inhale proves that we are in a fixed environment and not random vacuums of space. Now, again, you see I screenshot these. I don't know where he got that information from. I really don't care. All I know is the information is valuable to me. And it made a lot of sense to me as I read them. But you got to look at things from many different points of views as far as like opening up your mind. Because you'll become people say, oh, I'm a multi-dimensional being, but they're looking at everything from a one-dimensional point of view. You get what I'm saying? If you're just looking at it, let's say from one point of view in the physical, you're really one point of view. But just looking at it from a physical in and of itself is being one dimensional. Because you see, you have to look at things from a physical and a metaphysical point of view. And then from there, you start to break layers and you start to really see what the fuck multidimensionality is. And it starts to come to you in that way. Because you accepted that, but it all comes from you. You open your channels to allow a download and an upgrade. You get what I'm saying? But if you're one-dimensional, it's equivalent to you just saying, no, I'm holding on to this information and that's it. See, when you have an open hand, you're open to receiving and you're also opening to give information. But when your hands are closed, you're only holding on to what you know, but you're not even opening to giving or receiving anymore. So you block yourself that way. All right. Now, it's the same thing with everything. When you're open out here, there is no bad or good. It's just how you perceive it and how you receive it. You get what I'm saying? How you perceive it by what you were told and what you believe, and how you receive it by your state of being. That's very, very important to know. See, this is why you could believe everything, but don't believe in everything. But then again, your state of being, okay, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, is how you will receive it and how you will process it. And if you ain't powerful enough or strong enough, because you ain't harness your energy, then you will get sick in a way where it might even kill you. But you have to realize that nothing that kills you makes you stronger. So change your mind, change your life. Nothing outside of you can hurt you unless you allow it to hurt you. And if something outside of you is threatening you, it's because you manifested that there based on your mental state and belief about it.